Hi, and welcome. You're listening to the X22 Report. My name is Dave, and this is episode 1865A, and today's date is May 12th, 2019, and the title of the episode is The Battle Begins. Mainstream media begins to protect the central bank. Now, this is the time of year that most of us have a big old clear out. We get rid of all the stuff that's collected through the winter, hidden away in the back of a cupboard or a file cabinet. There might be a gold mine. Noble Gold can show you how to blow the financial dust off those files, revitalize the dead money, and catapult your retirement savings into orbit. Just for May, to celebrate Memorial Day, they are offering a solid silver Trump 2020 coin and a 10-ounce silver bar for anyone rolling over an IRA or cash deal over $20,000. Talk to the team over at Noble Gold today and call 877-646-5347. Protect your retirement by investing in a gold IRA. Let's get into the economic collapse financial news. Now, we know most likely the next couple of months, Trump is going to be pushing the central bank to cut rates. And we see that the mainstream media, they're already getting out in front of the entire story by telling the American people it's not going to help you. And it looks like the mainstream media is taking the side of the central bank and not the side of Trump, of course. But the point of the entire push right now, their narrative, is to say what he's about to do and what he's trying to force the central bank to do is not going to help anybody. And they do this in many, many different articles outlining each sector to show you how it's not going to help. But they leave out something very important. And the important thing is, it's not about helping the everyday person by having the rates cut. It's about helping the everyday person by getting rid of the central bank and having the economy continue on until the 2020 election so he can win again and then move fast forward to remove the central bank. And we'll be going through all that in a little bit. But first, we realize that there has been no deal with China. China came to the United States, they negotiated, and basically China left. Now the question is why? Well, there are very good reasons why they left. Because China was trying to manipulate the trade talks in their favor. And Trump is holding firm right now on his campaign promises to confront China and have them renegotiate all trade deals. And we need to remember something very important, is that over the many, many years where leaders got together and they hammered out some type of trade deal in a day or two and everything was perfect, that's because there was really no negotiation. The past administrations were just giving up everything. And a real negotiation goes back and forth. And actually, sometimes people leave the negotiations because they become angry, because they don't want to give. And then later on, when they see that it's still not going their way, they come back to the negotiation table. This is what it looks like when there's a real negotiation. I mean, you can use the example of when you go in to purchase an automobile. Some people go in, the salesperson says, okay, this is the price, and they agree to it and they buy the car. Other people go in there and they say, no, I don't like that price. I want something better. And they sit there for hours until someone gives. That's a real negotiation. Some people even walk out and might not return, or sometimes they do return. Or the dealer calls them back and say, okay, listen, we can now do that deal. So during this negotiation with China, there was this 150-page draft agreement that was presented to the Chinese team. Beijing balked at allowing the U.S. to hold controlling enforcement over the trade agreement terms. The fallback presentation from Vice Chairman Liu was, we cannot put the binding enforcement mechanisms in writing. You'll have to trust us to honor the agreement. At which time Lighthizer said, no way. We need this in writing. We're not going to go by your word. I mean, think about it. Would you ever go by someone's word if you're purchasing a house, you're purchasing a car, or anything else? Or would you want it all in writing? You want it in writing. Lighthizer and Trump are not only fighting China, they're fighting U.S. politicians who are beneficiaries of China. They're also fighting against U.S. corporations, Wall Street, and members of both political parties who desperately want to stop any trade balance reset. Almost half, or maybe even more, of Congress, they have financial self-interest if China can gain economic superiority over the United States. Oh, that brings me to Biden, if you really think about it, who had deals with China, who's saying, China's not really that big of a deal. But China is a really big deal. Think about it. Trump is not listening to Wall Street. He's not listening to those people in government who have interest in China becoming a powerhouse, who have investments with China. He's listening to the people. He's doing it so America is great again, where we are in control of trade, manufacturing, corporations, and everything else. Trump tweeted out the following. I think that China felt they were being beaten so badly in the recent negotiation that they may as well wait around for the next election, 2020, to see if they could get lucky and have a Democrat win, in which case they would continue to rip off the USA for $500 billion a year. The only problem is that they know I'm going to win. Best economy and employment numbers in U.S. history, and much more. And the deal will become far worse for them if it has to be negotiated in my second term. Would be wise for them to act now, but love collecting big tariffs. And who knows, China might say, okay, we've given it some thought, we will put it in writing. And we need to remember, we've been brainwashed to think this is how certain things happen. It's almost like with the Fed, who controls interest rates. It's not a free market. The free market is not dictating what the interest rate should be. The Fed is. We've been brainwashed over many, many years to think that this is the way it's supposed to be. Well, everyone's supposed to be in debt. This is the way it's supposed to be. Trade negotiations, well, they're done in an hour. And China gets everything. Or another country gets everything. Or the European Union gets everything. Now we're having real negotiations. They're up against someone who says, I'm not going to give. We want what we want, and guess what? You're going to have to sit here and negotiate. And it might take a very long time. But in the meantime, while you're thinking about it, we're going to be collecting billions and billions of dollars from you. Let me know when you don't want to do this anymore. Because out in China, they're already saying, because of these tariffs on China, their GDP is going to drop anywhere from 0.3 to 0.5%, maybe even more. We'll have to see. We see China's car sales, they're tanking by 16.6% in April. They've been falling for 11 months in a row. Now, yes, I know the rest of the world, everyone is experiencing the same thing, but their car industry is sinking very, very rapidly. And with these tariffs in place and everything else, I think they're going to go down very, very quickly. Now, it looks like the mainstream media is out there, and they're trying to get ahead of what is coming. And we know that Trump, he's going to be out there telling the central bank, we need to cut rates, we need to cut rates. And CNBC, and there's many other articles out there, they put up an article, Trump versus the Fed. Now, that's very interesting to start off with. Trump versus the Fed, what it means for your money. And they're trying to create this case that Trump pushing the Fed to lowering interest rates is not going to help you. So this is what they're saying. Credit card users. Most credit cards have a variable rate, which means there's a direct connection to the Fed's benchmark rate. For example, every time the Fed raises rates by a quarter point, you'll pay an extra $2.50 a year for every $1,000 worth of debt, which takes effect within 1 to 2 billing cycles. Rate cuts, however, don't work exactly the same way, to the detriment of consumers. There's a lag. If you look at credit card agreements, the language they use allows them to use the highest prime rate as of the last 60 days. It gives them latitude to quickly pass on a rate hike, but drag their feet on a rate cut. Now, first of all, credit cards, that's like loan sharking right off the bat. And is this really going to help the individuals that are deep in debt? No, of course not. The rate cuts don't do anything for this. Home buyers. They're saying, for example, for every quarter point drop in rate on a 100,000 balance, the borrower is going to save about $21 a month. And they're saying it's really not that big of a deal. The part they left out from this is that when Trump has the Fed cut rates, it brings more buyers into the market because now people can afford homes. Because when the rate goes up, you can't borrow as much. When the rate goes down, those people that were thrown out of the market can come back into the market. And this is what Trump wants. The same thing with car shoppers. Now, are they going to upgrade their cars? No. But when the rate goes down, it allows people to purchase those cars. He's using the tools against the deep state, the central bank. He's doing exactly what they did through the entire Obama administration. Student borrowers, well, that's a little bit different because they're on a fixed rate right now, and most borrowers are not immediately affected by a rate move. But we need to remember the reason why he wants the tax cut, because he understands the housing market, which is the most important thing. The housing market will bring in more buyers. And people and corporations and the rest, they will have the ability to borrow at a lower rate, which will help the housing market, the car industry, the corporations, and the rest. Now, you need to remember why he's doing this. He knows the central bank system. It's not going to benefit the people no matter what he does. Can he cut taxes? Yes, that will help. Is it going to help in the long run? No. Are the rate cuts going to help in the long run? No. All this does is kick the can down the street. That's it. That's all he is using this for, to get to the 2020 elections with the economy looking absolutely fantastic. Once he does that, what's going to benefit the people is getting rid of the Fed. And you can see already the mainstream media, they are now building the narrative that what he's doing will not benefit the everyday person. But in the long run, it will benefit the everyday person. And it will keep the economy going long enough for him to get reelected. Now, what's amazing is that during the Obama administration, they were all for the rate cuts. How great it is. Look at this. Why? Because they knew the economy was in an awful, awful place. And the rate cuts would allow the economy to look fantastic. That's what Trump is doing right now. He's doing the same exact thing. Now they're trying to point that at everything, saying it's really not going to help. It didn't help during Obama either. But what did it allow the mainstream media, the central bank, and the Obama administration to do? It allowed everyone to look at the stock market, at GDP numbers, at unemployment. And if you notice during that period of time, Obama continually said the economy is getting stronger. Look, the unemployment rate is coming down a little bit each time. Look, the stock market is moving up. The economy is getting better. Look, GDP numbers, they're getting a little bit better. Now, their entire narrative was to say this is going to be the new normal. They're not going to go up very quickly. It's going to stay around this area. Get used to it. Trump, since he has the magic wand, he is pushing this to the extreme because he knows he needs to have the economy look the best it has ever been. To have everyone say, we don't want another person in the White House because look at the economy. It is great. Now, remember, during this entire time, for many, many years, they've been brainwashing the American people all along. Look at the market, look at GDP, look at unemployment. It's the same numbers. They're all manipulated. Trump knows this. Trump is doing the same exact thing. And this is why it's very difficult for the mainstream media to say, look, the economy's not doing well. Look, it's not going to benefit you. Look, this is not going to help. Now, remember, Trump went ahead and cut taxes. The everyday person saw this. They felt it. I know Biden was out there saying real people didn't get the tax cut. Yeah, real people actually did get the tax cut. And guess what? They realized it when they filed their taxes. Everyone saw it. Everyone felt it when they were getting their paycheck. They all knew. And what is happening right now, he's making sure that he controls everything. Now, these articles that are coming out, what they're doing is they're trying to begin the narrative that it's not going to help. And they're beginning the narrative of why they need to protect the central bank and why Trump shouldn't be pushing the central bank around. And we're going to see a lot more of this as we move forward, because Trump, in the next month or two, he's going to be tweeting out like crazy against the Federal Reserve to lower rates. And this is going to start very soon, most likely in this summer, maybe near fall, to have it all prepped and ready for the 2020 election. Listen, everyone, thanks a lot for listening. Be well, be safe, and especially be prepared. Thanks a lot.